Hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and I have a feeling I'm going to need this glass of wine tonight. Because a storm is brewing outside, there's been some thunder, and yeah, I went back and watched episode 9 again, and it wasn't any better. I mean, seeing Levi, it's weird, because on the one hand, we got to see Levi in action, and that was great. Wonderful. But on the other hand, Aaron became a giant bag of nightmare fuel, so that's fun too. And here's the thing, y'all. When I watch a show, there are certain things that amp up my anxiety, right? One of the biggest things that makes me cringe and just want to throw something at the television is a thing I like to call unnecessary miscommunication. And what I mean by that is, I've thought about it since watching episode 9 again, and the problem is that Aaron, we've established since episode 1, is not trying to hurt humans. He just wants to destroy Titans. Yeah, he killed those guys that attacked Mikasa, but that was because they attacked Mikasa. I mean, and his life was in danger too, so of course. But as far as humanity as a whole, he's not wanted to do anything bad to humanity. He's just wanted to destroy Titans. And he finally gets the ability, somehow, we don't know how yet, to do that. And everyone in the Survey Corps that was with him in his training group, Mikasa, Armin, John, Reiner, Annie, Bertolt, they all know that because of him, all these lives were saved. However, because of this stupid commander and his bespectacled lieutenant or whatever, there's this big misunderstanding, and because they're panicking and reacting with fear to the unknown, they're targeting Aaron and Mikasa and Armin. And it's like... it's so frustrating because it's unnecessary miscommunication. I just wanted Aaron to be like, look, I just want to destroy Titans. I'm a human. I don't know what's going on, but we can all figure it out. We can all work together. But no. So I'm so frustrated. And rewatching the episode, I realized in my reaction I was just getting more visibly just irritated because I was like, just let the kid speak. Leave him alone. I felt like that meme of the kid that was like, leave Brittany alone. I just wanted to reach in there and rescue Aaron. And so I don't blame Aaron for making the bold, reckless move to try to become a Titan and bite himself. Like, I don't blame him because in that moment, they shot a cannon at you and your friends, especially at his friends, because he knew that he could probably save himself. But what about Armin and Mikasa? What about them? So I'm so afraid of this episode, and I have literally dreaded it. Not because I don't like the show. I love the show at this point. I'm hooked. I've been hooked since episode 7. Like episode 5, episode 5 cast the line, and then since then it's just been reeling me in, and so I've been really excited by it. And episodes 7 and 8 were really good, but last episode was so frustrating. And I was like, dang it, come on. The only good thing that I really liked out of last episode was that we got into Levi's character a smidge, a tiny bit. And that has me excited. I've heard the No Regrets OVA is about Levi, and I'm pretty excited for that. I want to see it whenever we're done with season 1. But yeah, and this episode's called Response. So my only thing is I'm wondering if Levi's troop is going to get involved now since they were absent. I don't see Levi and Aaron getting along at all. I don't. Maybe that's what the series is setting up of them as rivals. I don't, because Levi has a lot of like Mikasa like qualities, but Mikasa connects Aaron with her past and saving her from dying. Levi doesn't have that luxury of having that relationship with Aaron, and Aaron can come across as reckless and bold and amateurish in a way, and Levi, from what we've seen of him, seems to be someone that is very, very stoic and reserved and by the book, but he has that heart and compassion that you empathize with him and you get on board with him, or at least that's what we've seen so far. So I see them butting heads, especially if Levi finds out that Aaron can turn into a Titan. I see that being problematic. I see that being problematic with a lot of people in this series. So, so that's why I have a glass of wine, because I feel I'm going to need it. But y'all, hopefully the storm dies down, but we are on episode 10. I'm so nervous. I've not been this nervous going into an episode this entire season. Every other episode of Attack on Titan so far, I've been like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. But I literally took a week off in between these episodes because I was like, I need time. I need time to process. So I had recorded a bit ahead, and now I'm back on track and back on schedule. So I'm not ahead anymore. But I also want to say that to one of you commented on YouTube, and I should have wrote down who you were. So I'm sorry. I'll probably try to look it up ahead of time and put it up here if I find it. But y'all commented that on Crunchyroll that the projection isn't like as good of a quality as it is on Funimation. They said that there's like Blu-ray quality on Funimation, and that this is more, that Crunchyroll's isn't the same quality. So I'd been watching this through Crunchyroll because sometimes Funimation lags on me. Sometimes it lags and I have to like pause the reaction and then restart it. But y'all said that the quality is much better on Funimation, so that's what I'm going to try. So I'm going to do episode 10 through Funimation and see what happens. So if it decides to lag, which it can, you may notice the reaction kind of blip for a second if I've had to start it and restart it, stop it and restart, but that's pretty much it. But yeah, I'm going to try that and see if that works. So thank you for telling me that. I wouldn't have known. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I've wasted enough time. Let's one more for good measure. I'm dreading this nightmare fuel. But let us dive in, shall we? We are going to start episode 10 of Attack on Titan here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh my gosh. That was so good. I was just on the edge of my seat with anxiety for 90% of this episode, and I hated it. And then in the last shining moments, a white knight just filters through the dirt, dust, and despair with his flask and just performs miracles. Pixis, I am in love with you. Oh, I did not expect him to come in this episode. I did not. At first, I thought it was either going to be when someone grabbed his arm. I honestly thought it was Jean or Reiner. I don't know why I thought that, but I figured they were there on the scene. And a part of me thought it was going to be Jean. Like, it would have been a fitting character development for Jean to come in and be like, hey, let's hear this out. Because it was like, you know, Sean's been against Eren this whole time. And I was like, well, that'll be fitting that he comes in to advocate for Eren after Eren saved him and everything, and after he literally wanted to leave Eren behind in the last couple episodes. But this was much better. This is so much better. Oh, man. So, going back to this episode, y'all, holy crap. Ugh. Armin's episode for sure, of them putting their trust into Armin and just proving. I get so frustrated with characters sometimes in shows, and it's warranted with characters like Armin and characters like Atsushi and Bungo Stray Dogs. Though I liken Armin and Atsushi, they're very similar characters in terms of they don't think much of themselves. They don't think that they have a big influence on anybody or that they're strong. And we as the audience know that they are strong. Like, we know Armin has a brilliant mind, that he's a strategist, that he can think up these situations and solutions on the dot that other people get so afraid and flustered that they look entirely past. Armin has that ability to just think of it on the fly, and it's so useful. I mean, they wouldn't have gotten to the supply room without Armin. And just like Eren says, Eren and Mikasa would have been eaten by that Titan if Armin hadn't gone and got Hannes. Like, Armin is so important. He has been so important to this plot so far. Like, half the plot would have ended if Armin wasn't there, right? It frustrates me to no end when characters like Armin just devalue themselves and they have to go through this mental, like, reconstruction to realize their self-worth. And I get that it's a trope in shows. It's not just anime, it's in storytelling of all kinds. And I get that it's a trope, but it's such a frustrating trope, especially when the audience knows that they are of value and worthy. And it's like, ugh. But man, this War Man guy, I wanted to just throw him off a bridge this entire episode because he is the embodiment. He reminded me of the guy that Marco and Sasha were trying to mediate with. that just when fear and panic completely set in, just how quickly it can cause a logical situation or a negotiation to completely erode, like a completely rational situation to just completely collapse. And that is so telling. And I have a feeling that as this series goes on, there's going to be more moments like that with this show, because this is very much showing like what society would actually do if this sort of situation happened. Yeah, people would freak out and not be able to do anything. So we get into the nightmare titan here that Aaron has created, that he's created. I find that interesting. And yeah, it doesn't have any bottom half to it. It was just the top half, just like the ribs up, and it was just the arms and the ribs, like half a body. Because if you think about it, I talked about this last reaction, Aaron's been exhausted. He's like, he just stopped being the regular muscular buff titan and killing like dozens of titans, and now he has no energy. So of course when he tries to turn into a titan this next time, it doesn't go according to plan. And we'll talk about that more here in a minute. But as I'm going through the episode here, we get this guy that's freaking out, and Marco is trying to console him. And the conversations in this show sometimes go really, really fast and quickly, and I have to go back and kind of pause it to see what they were saying in the moment, because I'm trying to read as I react, and I'm like, okay, what are they saying? But he's like, my friends got killed, and yet I didn't feel any sadness or hate at all. He's just like, deep down, I just felt glad that it wasn't me. And that kind of goes back to what Armin says at the end to Pixis, where he's like, I was desperate to survive. And a part of it is sad and traumatizing that you didn't feel anything to them dying. Like that part, that's what's cruel. It's not the fact that you were glad that you survived. Like I think that there's been other shows, other anime do this as well. The idea that you shouldn't be sad that you survived. Don't be sad that you made it. I think of number 6. I just finished number 6. And in that anime, the character Nezumi, he tells Shion, he's like, don't be sad that you survived. Like, that's not a bad thing. And that's not a bad thing for this guy, but I definitely get where he's concerned that he felt no remorse or sadness or grief about his friends dying. That part is problematic. And then he's like, I realize what our job is, that we're just fighting until we're eaten. Which, again, goes back to the whole importance of Aaron, like his part he can play in all of this. And so the guy's like going to try to commit suicide to keep that from happening, and Marco's stopping him. And he's like, Sasha, be an example! And Sasha, you can tell deep down, is probably having those same fears, because we can see like her face is shrouded in darkness. But because it's Sasha, and she doesn't want to admit that and be, out of her normal happy character, she's just like, oh, my stomach hurts. And she's playing it off as that. And her stomach may hurt, but she's using that as the excuse of not wanting to admit that deep down she probably feels the same kind of emotions that guy is feeling. Because her and Connie, they couldn't get their titans killed down in the cellar, and they nearly caused a catastrophe. So I'm sure she feels some remorse and guilt too in relation to that. She's like, could you please consider me as one of the wounded? And they're like, what? And then we cut over to Jean and Reiner and Bertolt and Annie, and the gag order is definitely warranted. So yeah, Jean is kind of thinking the same thing. He's being a strategist like Armin. He's like, look, the gag order is warranted. We don't need to tell people about Aaron, because as we've seen with this freaked out dude that Marco's taking care of over there, people are panicking, and it's chaos, and cooler heads need to prevail. And you can see that Reiner and Bertolt and Annie and Jean looks a little bit shaken, but Annie and Reiner and Bertolt looks like they're holding their own pretty good. And Jean's like, we need to just keep Aaron a secret, because if people start finding out, they're going to freak. Little do they know, it's too late for that, because people have already found out. And then they see the whole flash and everything. And I like that Reiner connects. He's like, Titan steam, cannon fire. It's like, okay, we're piecing together the telltale signs of a Titan appearing. And we got the flash with Aaron, which again is the flash that we got with the Colossal Titan. So, okay. The sturdiest place, and what's shocking them is it's happening inside the walls, so that's what's freaking them out. And I like that Reiner's like, I gotta go check it out. And yeah, Jean's like, is that Titan steam? And Reiner's like, screw this, I'm gonna go see what's happening. And then Annie and Bertolt, like, Jean's like, don't leave me. So those 4 end up going and seeing, the 4 that know about Aaron go and see, which is good. And then this monstrosity that's got muscles and a rib cage and nothing else. And I like that Mikasa, she's like not even phased. She's like, it's just a normal Wednesday. No worries here. Everybody else is freaked the hell out. But she's like, nah, it's just Aaron. We're all good. I'm like, girl, you have nerves of steel. I swear. But we get to see inside the Titan, which is interesting. Like, I wanted to see, like, Armin looks up and you can see the bones and everything. So it really is an exoskeleton. It really is just like a doll, like a body that he's just inside controlling. And we get to see that the tissue and everything is connected to him. Like the tissue, like inside, like the eye movements and everything are connected to him. Like he's unconscious. Like his eyes, even though the eye of the Titan was open and moving around, Aaron's eyes were closed. And so then he opened them and then the Titan's eyes went all crazy. Oh, okay. So it's like rapid eye movement. The Titan's eye moving is like inside Aaron. His eye was like moving. It was like rapid eye movement. So it's almost like it's like it's attached to his consciousness. And then he pulls the arm back and gets out the back of the neck. So it's like attached itself all over him. And that's kind of like a kaiju, like what's making him move the exoskeleton. But once he's detached from it, then it starts to collapse and fade away. Interesting. So it's a part of him, which is weird. It's actually connected to him until he separates himself from it, and then it starts to fade away. Aha. Huh. And Mika says, she's like, we don't need to understand how this all works. We just need to know that Aaron protected us from that cannon fire. He's our friend. And of course, I love that the flowers on the inside, and there are 3 purple flowers that are obviously representing Mikasa, Armin, and Aaron. And they're protected on the inside of the Titan. Which, what symbolism? Inside the Titan, they're protected? What is this? What is this business? And of course, Aaron's like, let's go! And I swear, I know they couldn't run. Running, now that I think about it, running was not an option because they would have just got gunned down. I mean, they're kids. They're 15-year-olds. It's just in the moment when you see this smoke screen around them, you're like, come on, guys, you can make it out. You could go. But it's like, where would they go? They can't go outside the walls. That's not going to be good. I mean, Aaron might be able to survive because he can become a Titan, but Mikasa and Armin aren't going anywhere. They wouldn't be any good. They'd just be liabilities, right? And so eventually they'd run out of gas and they'd have to go back to a supply room to keep their gear working. So that's not an option. And so that's why Aaron offered to go by himself. And if they run through the city, eventually they're going to get caught because there's more garrisons and more troops than there are the 3 of them. There's no... thinking about it afterwards, they really didn't have a choice. But in the moment when you see all that smoke and debris, I'm like, just make a run for it. Just go. You can hide out, shave your heads, it'll work. You can disguise yourselves, right? Sure. But yeah, I like that Aaron is expressing a little bit of self-awareness here, that there is no chance of just reasoning with them normally after they've just witnessed this nightmare fuel. There's no chance. And I love that we get the glooming shot of the 3 of them looking up that exoskeleton. So we have this key with the basement. God, what a tease. What a tease. And this show, by the end of it, makes it all the more painfully aware that it is going to be a while before we get to the basement. It is going to be a while. Don't spoil me. But I just get that impression. One, because I have a feeling that this is the crux. This is a big part of the series, and they're not going to just tell us right off the bat, because why would it? But also because by the end of this episode, when Pixis is saying, you will do it or won't you, and it pans out, and we just see that scale of how far away Wall Maria is, how far away that basement is, and you're like, Aaron's got to go all that way through Titan territory to get to it. It's like, oh, honey, yeah, that's going to be a while. So, but Aaron brings up some really good questions in this episode. Some really good questions. He's the reason that this has happened to me. If I go to the basement, I'll find out what the Titans are too, or so he thinks. It'd be funny if he got there and there was nothing in the basement. That would be like the biggest twist, is that there's just nothing, or it doesn't give him any answers. But I like that Aaron's asking these questions. Why did he keep it a secret? People, thousands of scouts have died to get this information. If he knew that, if Dr. Yeager knew that becoming a Titan was a possibility, why keep it a secret? What's the deal? What is the deal? If that was a possibility. And then also, Aaron brings up another good point. It's the only hope humanity has. And why keep it... Okay, so one, why keep this information secret to begin with? Unless it's all a big government conspiracy. Two, why keep it tucked away in a damn basement, in our basement, like in a house where anybody could have broken and found it? What was he thinking? Yeah, if this information is so valuable, why would you just keep it in a basement? Like, why wouldn't you, like, hide it in a safe or in the castle or something crazy? Unless, that's a really good point. Unless Dr. Yeager doesn't want the royal government, unless this isn't a government conspiracy. Unless the government conspiracy has something to do with the Titans, but what Dr. Yeager has discovered is something he doesn't want the royal family or the government to know that he knows. That could be it. And that would explain why he's kept it in the basement. Because he doesn't want the royal family to know this particular bit of information that he either has knowledge of or has discovered on his own. And so he's kept it hidden, and he wants Aaron to figure it out. And he's like, okay, now you need to find out the knowledge too, because maybe he's being threatened. And that leads to the third question that he asks. He asks Armin and Mikasa, where the hell has he been these last 5 years? Because, yeah, the vision of him getting injected and of him giving him the key was from 5 years ago. Where's he been this whole time? What has he been doing? Why hasn't he come in to check on Aaron and the rest of them? What's his name? Keith? I think Keith is the leader of the training group. He knew about Aaron's dad. So what's going on? What's three big questions? Why keep this information secret from everybody, especially the training, especially the Survey Corps? Why keep the information hidden in the basement, unless you're trying to hide it from the government and everybody else? And what has he been doing these last 3 years? I feel like these three questions are going to plague me until I find the answers out eventually. But that's fine. That's part of the fun of this show, is finding out the mystery. I love a good mystery, and I love a show that takes you on a journey to figure out the mystery. So, y'all, I'm in. I'm in now because I want to know these answers. So don't spoil me, but I'm in. I'm ready to watch this series and find out. But yeah, lots of mystery. And then Mika says, like, we can worry about that plot stuff later. We got to get out of this right now. And oh my gosh. Yeah, Warman is just the worst. I can't stand him. Like especially after Armin makes that really impassioned speech, it's like, what are you doing? And so they bring up a good point about Aaron having little to no stamina left. They're like, you're pale, your nose has started to bleed, like you are injured, you are physically exhausted, you don't need to do this again, like this is a problem, you need to rest. And here's the thing that Aaron says that's very, very interesting. When he's talking about it, he gets that kind of like Aaron craziness to him. It only had the capabilities and endurance for that. He was like, I was only doing it on the fly. I didn't have time to think about it. I just did it instinctively, and I'm half beaten to death, so I couldn't make something tangible that could be of service. I just could make the top torso. But then he says this line. He's like, next time, I'm going to be an even stronger one. I'm going to be a 15-meter Titan that can slaughter other Titans like before. So, the question is, can you do that? Is it a mental thing? I mean, it's attached to his subconscious. Is it a mental thing where he imagines himself as the giant Aaron Titan that we saw to begin with? Is that a thing? Can he do that? Is it all like in his head, like what he imagines is what happens? But yeah, that's when his nose starts bleeding. Like, you need to rest, dude. You're spent. Yeah. And you're pale and your breathing's rough. So that brings up something's clearly wrong. You're not well. Yeah, and the rest of the episode, he looks tired and exhausted, and his eyes just look sunken in like he just doesn't feel good. And I like that Aaron brings up there's two possibilities with this. One, I run away and try to make it to the basement on my own, which is a terrible idea. Because as we've seen, if he can't control the Titan ability yet, he's just going to get around these Titans and be a half-formed skeleton, and they're going to tear him apart. So that's not good. And Mikasa and Armin both realize that. And two, the other problem with that is I'm pretty sure Warman and them would have just either imprisoned Mikasa or Armin, or they would have killed them, or at least killed Armin. They may have spared Mikasa because she's important to them, but they would not have spared Armin. Okay, we have the little side thing where it's like saying something in Japanese, and it's like there's a molecule and it says yeast and there's question marks. So here's the thing. They give us no translation, which is a crime against humanity. How dare they not let us know? So I wanted to go to Crunchyroll and just look up that midway point and check things out and be like, okay, hold on. I want to see if they translate it on Crunchyroll and give us a translation for it. So that's what I want to see. Okay. So let me turn the sound off here and go to this and find this part here and see if they actually give us things. Because if they don't, they don't. Oh, wait, yeah, they do. Okay, good. Yay, they translated. Okay, they translated. Even better. So, in the first one here, okay, let me go back here. Okay, in the first one it says yeast. A special yeast made only within Walsina keeps fodder, wheat, beans, and other items from spoiling for a long time when placed in storerooms or tents. So it's the food. So it's a special yeast, a special item keeps only within Walsina keeps fodder, wheat, beans, and other items from spoiling. So funny that only the rich people get this special yeast that's keeping food from rotting. Awesome, nice. And then by seeding storage caches with this yeast along supply lanes, humanity prepares to retake Wall Maria. So they're trying to store this yeast so that they can create a food supply to bring back Wall Maria and kind of get more resources there. Okay, awesome. That helps make sense because they didn't translate in the Funimation, and I was like, I don't know are we supposed to know what this says? I was like, is it something to do with Titan DNA? This little molecule? But no, it was about food. And of course, Walsina, because it's the rich people's. The 1% gets the nice food. So, yeah, Warman's just completely gone at this point. And Armin, my baby, I love you, but I do get a sense of foreboding when he says this is the last time the three of us will be together. I wonder if, even though that doesn't happen at this episode, if it is foreshadowing that something's going to split them up, something to do with Eren and Pixis and the others. I am wondering that. But I love that Eren and Mikasa trust Armin to make the right decision. They're like, you're the strategist. You have helped us before. You can figure out what needs to be done. And I will give major props to Armin. Like, he stood his ground, like, ditched his gear, ditched the maneuver gear, everything, just stood there as helpless as could be, begging for his life and trying to argue for Eren's sake. And for a second, it wasn't going to work because fear overtook every ounce of logic left in Warman and the others. And it terrifies me how easily they were swayed back and forth. Like, they were just easily pulled back and forth between Armin and Warman so easily. Like, at first they were like, yeah, Armin. And they're like, nope, Warman, Armin. And it was just like, they were easily manipulated. Just did not have a lot of mental fortitude in this moment. Which and I love that Armin, he stakes everything on this, on acting as a soldier. And he's like, I will die for Eren in this cause. I think Eren can help us, which he's right. Eren is your only chance right now of really fighting the Titans. I mean, yeah, you guys can fight them like you've been doing, but to really even the score, Eren is pretty essential at this point. And I love that Reiner and Berthold and Annie and Jean got to see Armin stand up for Eren. I love that they saw that they got to witness him stand by him, because I'm hoping that if Eren is questioned again, or his integrity is questioned, that Reiner and the others will stand up for him as well, seeing Armin do the same thing first. Like, just, oh my God. And yeah, they're all ready at this point. Like Armin, he turns around and like goes to help Mikasa. Mikasa like gets ready to have her sword, and Aaron's about to bite himself again. Like they're all about to just throw down to try to survive. Like they're all about to do it. And then my man Pixis. My man Pixis. Look at him. I see you're still as delicate as a young deer despite your size. God, he's amazing. Commander Pixis. I love it. And he's in charge of trust. And he's like, dude, this guy just saved our city. We ain't gonna let him die. I do get the implication, though, that Pixis is a commander. He's in charge of this unit. He is thinking of the people of Trost first and foremost. And he's like, yeah, we ain't gonna kill Aaron. We're going to use Aaron. Are you kidding me? This guy can become a Titan. We ain't gonna let him die. He's gonna do some work for us. And so I love it. And then we cut to this thing that the scout regiments, it was believed the Titans would appear from the south, which they did. It was Shiganshina's district that the Titans attacked. So that's interesting to me because of, particularly, if the scouts knew that the Titans were coming in from the south and that Shiganshina was going to be the place that they attacked. When the Colossal Titan showed up, that makes me think that there is a mole inside the ranks. Because if Aaron can become a Titan, who else can become Titans? We don't know. But I guarantee that one of them can become the Colossal Titan. And that bit of information just makes me think that someone on the inside with intel from the Survey Corps found out that all this massive wave of Titans was coming up from the south, and for reasons unknown that I have no clue what would motivate them, but for unknown reasons, whoever can become the Colossal Titan showed up at the wall where all the Titans were gathering and kicked the hole in, because it was like, it's just like when you have a bunch of water pressed down against something, you just poke a hole in it and it just goes like, that's all that it was. So something leads me to believe that one of the surveyors is a mole, or someone that knows a surveyor is a mole. For whatever purpose. I still don't know why in the world, if it's the government, why they would hire a Titan to destroy the wall, or if it's like some kind of anti-government group. I don't know. But whoever is trying to do this attack, for whatever reason, had intel on the inside. That's what I'm saying. And then they would go straight from Shigansina straight through and go straight to Trost. So the Titans they're not intelligent enough to know to go to a different location. They're just moving in a linear fashion. And then, yeah, I love that he has the flask. He's the top officer in charge of Trost and the entire Southern Territory. He and the man given full authority for the defense of humanity's most vital region. So he's got a lot of responsibility on his hands. So, of course, he's going to be like, we're going to use you, Aaron. You're going to help us. None at all. I certainly wouldn't mind being gobbled up by a beautiful girl Titan. I hope that's not foreshadowing. I hope that's not foreshadowing. God. This show, everything is foreshadowing at this point. Everything is a conspiracy. Everything is foreshadowing. I trust nothing. And so here's the thing. They established that he's never been one to make much sense. So even his own troops, I mean, clearly maybe some of them do respect Pixis, but maybe a lot of them fear him because he's just really strong and has been very successful in his military career, so they don't question him. And he's obviously favored by the higher up guys like Marquis Bart. But Warman's planning a mutiny, isn't he? We finished reassembling the troops. Yeah, they're planning a damn mutiny. They are planning a damn mutiny to attack Aaron. Nope. Hate it. Hate it already. That's why you've got Titans to worry about. Why do you need to fight amongst yourselves? I don't understand. Humanity sucks. That's the main point. And so I like Pixis says I'm keeping it all in mind. Like I believe you for now. I know you're being sincere. I can tell when people are being sincere. So I don't quite understand the situation, but I'm going to believe you for now because y'all seem pretty desperate. Like you want to live. And Armin, I love when he says that. Armin's like, we're under his protection. Yay. And Aaron and Mikasa are like, So, yeah. Armin, again, strategy. He's like, we'll take the boulder, the big piece of rock, and we'll plug up the hole. Beautiful. And I love that Pixis doesn't really give Aaron a choice. He's like, I'm not asking if you can. I'm asking if you will or not. Because if you won't, that's going to be a problem. Because I just saved your life. And so, yeah. I mean, I hope they let Aaron sleep for like a good 6 hours to gain some strength back before he decides to do this. I also hope that when he turns into a Titan to take the boulder that will help them, that Warman's stage mutiny doesn't happen and screw things up. Really hope that doesn't happen. But yeah. And Armin, being totally honest, I fully believed in Aaron, but I was also desperate to survive. So it's like, it's, you know, the truer words have never been spoken. But damn. I came into this episode being really scared that it would just devolve and be something completely crazy. But this show is proving that just when you think things are dire and couldn't get any more chaotic or insane, they do. And so, yeah, so next episode, I guess we're going to put Aaron to use. Again, this I think is going to be a big crutch of are people going to trust Aaron or not? Because Pixis seems on board. As long as Aaron can be helpful, Pixis seems on board with this. And Armin and Mikasa are, and I'm sure that our 4 on the rooftop are. The question is Levi going to be on board with this? And clearly Warman is not, so I feel like we're going to have like a big tryst next episode, like a big tussle. Yay! But man, this was such a good episode. And then Pixis being like, you really have no choice. You're going to do what we say if you want to go to that basement. And then we get the big zoom out and just see how vast it is. Oh my god. Yeah. This episode was great. So good. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'm going to go rewatch it. I enjoy it again, even though I've seen it like twice now, rewatching it again. But yeah, I'm curious to know your thoughts. Please no spoilers. As always, I'm 10 episodes into this and y'all have been so amazing. I said it in the reaction, but y'all trolling me on episode 5, being like, man, it's a shame what happened to Aaron. I was like, I love you all. You all just keep doing it. Keep trolling me. Go ahead. I don't care. I'm all for it. That gave me such a laugh reading your comments for episode 5. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll be back very soon with episode 11 of Attack on Titan. Bye.